guys, welcome back to my channel. Some of you know me, but I'm Rachel, I'm 27 years old and I'm currently teaching English here in South Korea. So last week I did a video about the requirements to be an Emirates cabin crew because I had a request for it from one of my viewers. This week I thought just for fun that I would do the requirements to come here and teach English in South Korea. I also thought it would be interesting. I'm going to put in a few hints and tips when you're accepting a contract here in Korea. Guys, I'm sorry if you're not interested in these videos, I promise. I'll be going back to my vlog soon. It's just freezing here in Korea, so I don't really like going outside, and I'm kind of just chilling, going to cafes and things with my friends, so nothing really vlog worthy lately. But I'll be going back to them soon. I have a big trip planned, which I'm excited for. Anyway, let's get started. So first of all, the first requirement you will need to come here and teach English in Korea is you need to be from one of the following countries. You need to be from the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Ireland, or South Africa. You need to be from one of these countries to qualify for the E2 visa, which is the E2 visa sponsored from the schools here in Korea. Next, you need to have a university degree. This does not have to be in teaching or education, but you do need to hold one. If you have a degree in teaching or education, I would recommend going for an international school here in Korea. They're known to pay a lot better and have amazing holidays. But if you are like me, who studied criminology and anthropology, you can get a job in the public school system or with a hagwon. Now, this video will mainly be about hagwons because I only have experience with hagwons. I did not want to go into the public school system because you can't choose where you go. So if you apply for EPIK, you can be placed anywhere all over the country. You could also be placed at multiple schools, and from what I know, they can have long commutes. I wanted to be able to really choose where I wanted to go, which is why I chose to do the hagwon route. Now, saying that, the hagwon route can have quite a few problems. So yes, I will go into that a little bit later. Okay, so the other requirement that you can have, but I know that some hagwons here in Korea will accept teachers who do not have, is a TEFL. A TEFL is a Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate, and you can get this online or in person. I did mine online when I was still working at Emirates, and I got it online at I think mytefl.com. I will leave a link. These can range in durations and prices and things like that. I got quite a cheap certificate, honestly. The schools just check that you've got it. They don't check where it's from, like how expensive it was or how in depth it was. So that's what I did. But as I said, teachers still get hired here with no certificate and no teaching. So you can pretty much just come if you have that degree, English, like the degree from an English university. Sorry, I need to put that in there. And if you have a passport from one of those countries. Alright guys, another important thing I think is the contract. So there are some really important things that I myself have really looked for in contracts. First of all, I made sure usually that my schools will include housing. This just means that you really don't have to worry about it, but one thing I would recommend before signing that contract is to get photos of the housing. They do have a thing called basements and semi-basement apartments here in Korea. These are prone to flooding and to mold and have a lot of other issues that I've heard about, and these are located in places like Seoul. Another thing that you want to do is you want to honestly go on the Korean blacklist and have a look if the hagwon that you want to apply for is there. Sometimes like English teachers can complain on there due to cultural differences and things like that that can't be avoided, but it is also kind of good to have a look on there and see what people are saying about the school. Another thing that I would recommend having a look out for, or even just asking the employer, is about red days. Red days are the public holidays here in Korea. Now, for most kindergartens and things like that, you will get red days off. It's usually a given, except lately with Corona. Hagwons, I think, loved taking these away. But anyway, regardless of the reason, if you do have to work a red day here in Korea, you should be paid for it. I'm pretty sure this is a law here in Korea that you need to be paid for it. Sometimes hagwons just need a little bit of a reminder. But yes, you do need to be paid for it if you are working a public holiday in Korea. But you need to also make sure that it is classified as a public holiday. As far as I know, holidays of ours like Christmas are not actually included as public holidays. Another thing you want to make sure is that your school is paying 50% of your pension and 50% of your health insurance, okay? Except if I know if you're South African, and I think someone told me if you're British, you cannot qualify for the pension here. So you want to make sure whether they should be paying for your pension or they should not be paying for your pension. My friend is South African, and I know she said that her employer was paying her pension for a few months and she can't get the money back. So it's actually really difficult, and they need to make sure it's not being paid. So just make sure, depending on where you're coming from, whether your pension should be paid by your employer or not paid. That is something that's really, really important. I will tell anyone now, if you're Australian, you want your employer paying for your pension. And you're South African, you do not. But yes. And another thing, guys, you really want to ask about your hours and things like that. If you work over 7 hours, you should be having a 30-minute break. And if you work, I think, over 8 or 9 hours, you should be getting an hour break. I would just double check, because a lot of schools really do overwork their employees and things like that. So it's just something to be very, very cautious of. Maybe try and get an example timetable or something like that. Another thing that I think I have personally set for myself is to never take the first offer that a school offers you. What I would recommend doing is, if they offer you housing plus say 2.2 million won, which is, I think, is a pretty general first offer for 0 teaching experience in Korea. This is a pretty common offer, 2.2 plus housing. You can always write back and politely kind of hint for more money. So I'll be honest, I have done this with all of my jobs, and they usually bump it up quite sometimes by quite a few $100s. So that would be my recommendation. Make sure you do it politely. But honestly, I would never accept the first offer. There's always a bit of a debate when it comes to the contract. So yeah, I think they're really the main things, guys, that I would look for in the contracts, and they are the requirements that you need to teach English in Korea. So I really hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave me a comment, or I have my Instagram attached on here. You can send me a personal message. But I hope this was useful for you guys, and I'm sorry if you missed my vlogs. I'll be back to them soon. But bye, guys.